Hello, welcome to this video. So in this video, I will talk about two articles that I recently read. One article on the official website of Angular, and the other article is from Brian Cagnato. And in his article, he talked about where web frameworks are heading to in 2025. So I've already uploaded a video last week where I talk about where Angular is heading to in 2025. And following that video, I read these two articles. And since these articles also are talking about where web frameworks are heading to, I thought that I can do this follow-up video where I also explain what the content of these two articles. So the first article on the official website by Angular, it talks about the roadmap of a framework for this year. And the article, it shows that they used the survey, the Angular survey for last year to identify opportunities where the framework could significantly improve. And the biggest opportunity that they identify is regarding the authoring of components. So I already mentioned this point in my previous video, and this was also the main point that came from the survey, the Angular survey last year. So we are expecting a request for comment or RFC later this year, and I think that it will be an RFC that can really have a significant impact on the future of the framework. Why I say so? Because I think that will Angular remain class-based component? Will Angular remain maybe functional, or will Angular transition to become more functional driven? So these elements will have an answer to these questions when we later have this RFC. But for me, this improvement of the authoring of components is a must-have for the Angular framework. Because as I was explaining in my previous video, maybe it should be key for Angular to be more integrated in other web frameworks. So I will be really excited to see this RFC when it will later be open for the public. And another opportunity that was identified in the article by the Angular team is regarding the testing framework. And Angular they have deprecated Karma since a couple of years now. And since then, they have been trying to see what testing framework could be a good candidate to replace Karma. We know that there are some testing frameworks that are very popular within the JavaScript world. We can mention Jest, and Vitest is newer, but Vitest also has gained a lot of popularity ever since its inception. So with these testing frameworks, now Angular is trying to see which one could be a good candidate to replace Karma ever since it got deprecated. We know that the Angular team is very opinionated to have a testing framework that uses the real browser and not a mock browser. So would that also still be in the balance with the new candidate that they choose? Well, we are yet to see what they come up with. One thing for sure is that they want to revamp the testing framework of Angular to make Angular easier and easier to be tested. Now, moving to the second article that I read, the article from Brian Cagnato, he talked about not a web framework in particular, but he talked about web frameworks in general. He started his article saying that in 2024, we thought that all the problems that has to be solved within web, all they have been solved. That's how he started his article. He said that web frameworks, they've come a long way, and they've tried to explore almost every option that is possible uh, to be explored. But at the end of the day, in 2024, they realize that they don't have all the answers because web frameworks are trying to solve problems that are not easy to resolve. And consequently, the answers, these web frameworks, they are becoming themselves more and more complex. We've had newer framework coming, Svelte, Remix. We have this newer framework. They are bringing innovative ideas to the web frameworks. But this newer framework, they are not solving all possible problems that there are to be solved within the web space. So looking back, so the web started on the server side, and with single page application SPA, the web was moved from backend to being client first. But then single page application also, they started to show signs of problem, maybe regarding the time of the first rendering, as the engine included for the rendering of pages become bigger. These client-side application also, they have showing the weaknesses. So now people started to think, okay, what if we move back the web from client to the server again? So Solid.js, they started with the server first component, and also later React also they introduced React server component. But we've seen last year that these server first component, they don't have it all. It's not a one fit all solution. Angular also, they came up with a hybrid solution where they have some route that can be rendered on a client and some route that can be rendered on a server. Because web applications are very complex. They come in all shape and size. And as these web applications are trying to tackle various problems, it also makes sense that the approaches that they use are also different based on this type of problems that they are trying to solve. So basically, what the article here is saying is that, the web framework, they haven't solved all the problems. They are still trying to solve all the problems, but it's very hard within the web space to either focus to be completely a client-side application or to be a completely server-side application. Depending on the application and its use, it could be sometimes be more indicated to be on the client, or sometimes to be on the server, or sometimes just a hybrid application, which encompasses both approaches. So another point also that very interesting in this article that he also discussed is regarding the compiler in JavaScript world. So in JavaScript, so we have compilers that transform JavaScript into JavaScript. It seems funny, right? But what those compilers, they do is that they transform the developer JavaScript into the executed JavaScript. And I also recently read an article on the blog of NX, which talks about why we need JavaScript in the world of JavaScript, why we need compilers in the world of JavaScript. And it's very interesting also article there to show the importance of compilers within the JavaScript world. What surfaces here in the article from Brian Carnetto is that compilers are becoming smarter and smarter. But here is the problem. As they're becoming smarter, they're becoming more complex. Because as I said earlier, the problem to be solved within the web space are very complex. So these compilers, they try to patch sometimes the standards of ECMAScript, or sometimes they try to be ahead of these standards. And as such, these compilers are becoming complex and complex. So now, what happens when those compilers are used within web frameworks? Another question arises, will those compilers be used at a runtime? Will they be used at a build time? So these challenges also they arose when we try to make the compilers smarter, because as smarter they get, as bigger they get bigger as well. So this point also was brought in this article also from Ron Canato, which shows that compilers are trying to solve a lot of problems within the JavaScript world, but inherently they're also becoming a liability. So what could happen? We are yet to see how compilers also they will evolve. One thing for sure, they will remain for a long time, given how useful they are within the web space. So this article that from Haran Kanato is very interesting. It opens up our perspective regarding this year 2025, and something also very interesting. Reading his article is also looking about now the rise of newer frameworks such as Svelte, Remix, and for me the key takeaway here is that will this newer framework take a big share of a job space in the web ecosystem. So what I mean here is that as a new developer, do I have to go and learn this newer framework and forget about these old frameworks such as Angular and React? But here is the thing. Well, I think that this newer framework, they bring innovative ideas to the web ecosystem, and they are fantastic to learn. But for me, they remain playground for these old frameworks, because as this newer framework, they experiment new ideas. When this newer framework, they get matured, these ideas that they bring, they become also part of the old framework. To make myself clear, if you think some things like signals, for instance, signals, as far as I know, they started with solid.js, and when the Angular team, when they saw how these signals could be useful within the core of Angular, so well, they also try to have the same thing within the Angular framework, and now Angular also they do have signals. So my point here is that as a new developer, it's always best to learn these old frameworks, because for me, they will remain for a long time in the job space. And this newer framework for me, when they will become mature, when they will try to get more traction from enterprise level, for me, the old framework, they will catch up. So for me, I don't think that as a new developer, it's always best to just learn about this new framework and just forget about the old framework. For me, that's not something I would recommend. This newer framework, they are good to see what innovative ideas they are bringing to the tech space. But for me, when it comes to the job space, the old frameworks such as Angular and React, they will remain. These are the frameworks that are used when it comes to enterprise apps that are used directly in production. So this is all I got for you for today after I read the recent 2 articles. So let me know in the comment section below what you think. If you also read these 2 articles, let me know below what you think about this video, what you think about what I think where web frameworks they will head to. And I'll be really interested to hear what you have to say on this subject. As for me, see you in another video.